Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Kennedy Centre's Millennium stage for a special preview of the third opera in Washington National Opera's ongoing triple bill, Jeanine Tesori and Tazewell Thompson's Blue, and also of the third program in our Young Artists Recital series. And I should first say that this is a very special day for the Millennium stage because it is the Millennium stage's 23rd birthday. So I thought we'd get going with a little vocalizing from all of you, if you will, Mr. Morris.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Millennium stage. Happy birthday to you.
That was meant to be a sing-along. I think you can do better than that. The rest of it's not, so you can relax for now. As director of Washington National Opera's Young Artist Program, this is a very proud day for all of us because just a few minutes ago it was announced that our current third-year soprano, Alexandria Shiner, has been named a winner of the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions with her stellar performance. This performance on the stage of the Met. But not only that, we just opened our stunning production of Samson and Delilah just down the hall, which means that we're very grateful to our tenor from tonight's performance, who himself has been a semi-finalist in the Metropolitan Opera competition, and who has already sung an opera down the hall today. Thank you, Joshua, for being with us. So on to Blue. I first saw Ms. Tesori and Mr. Thompson's opera Blue at its premiere this past summer up at Glimmerglass and came away from the experience deeply changed. It is a devastating work, to be honest. It imparts the power of operatic emotion and empathy and understanding onto one of the most important and difficult societal issues of recent times, race relations in our country. For those of you who do not know much about the piece yet, the story revolves around a black man in blue, as it's called, a black police officer and father who at the beginning of the story is wrestling with his role in society as the mother worries about her son's future. Years later, his now teenage son is killed by a white officer at a political protest, devastating the family and leading to a major crisis of conscience for the father. The story is, of course, deeply tragic, but we're going to perform three of the happier moments in the score tonight, beginning with the mother recounting how she first met her husband as she's gabbing with her girlfriends. Jeanine Tesori is a Tony Award winner, well known for her work and her compositions on Broadway, and she's also the composer of one of our recent holiday operas, which you may have seen, The Lion, the Unicorn, and Me. She brings all that ability to shape-shift between genres to this score, and there are moments of gospel and blues and Broadway and a richly colored orchestration. And Tazewell's beautiful libretto glows with immediacy and life. So to sing the mother's first aria from Blue, please welcome our fantastic mezzo-soprano Amanda Bottoms, accompanied by Thomas Morris.
Everything about him is big, big frame, big smile, big eyes, big ears, big head, full of big ideas. I whisper his name he kisses me. He takes me to the river. I love him. He seems to love me more than I love him, and that's saying something. I looked at him, he looked at me. I heard him say, he said to me, it's you I want, I must have you, go figure. Not a clue of who I am or what I'm not, I didn't care. He said to me, I'm in his hair, go figure. I've been waiting and watching and wanting and hoping and praying that someone would wait and want to watch over me and say, you come follow me. This joy within. But other men go to work, mine goes to war. I never know if he'll be coming through that door. At the end of the day, how will it end? How did it start? How can it be? He just wants me. Where I am, he wants to be. Go figure.
Isn't that beautiful? Washington National Opera has been very busy within the community outside these walls to foster discussion about the issues involved in Blue. And there are many exciting and informative events you can participate in and find out about on our website. One of these is our Young Artist Recital at the Phillips Collection, featuring these 5 performers next Sunday, March the 8th at 4 p.m. And around the collection's current exhibition, which is entitled Riffs and Relations, African-American Artists and the European Modernist Tradition, we have woven a program which shows the cross-fertilization between the works of African-American composers and Western European composers as they influenced each other both ways. Tonight, we are going to feature only the works of African-American composers who, from the very first spirituals and plantation songs, which were first sung in this country in hardship and bondage, this has developed into the single most influential force on all of world music in the last 2 centuries. Blues, jazz, gospel, rock, ragtime, boogie-woogie, country, rap, hip-hop, and way more are direct derivatives of African roots that found their way to the United States over the Middle Passage in the 17th century and spread quickly into every facet of American and eventually international identity and culture. And 2 of the very first composers of color to achieve widespread recognition in the West were Louis Gottschalk, born in New Orleans of a French Creole mother and a Jewish father, and Samuel Coleridge Taylor, born in England to a Creole father from Sierra Leone and an English mother. Now, no doubt their mixed heritage played a part in their early acceptance in the climate of the times, but their music reflects their education in the finest establishments and total assimilation of the contemporary styles of the day. Gottschalk's O Loving Heart, Trust On was one of the most popular and beloved parlor songs of the time, and his piano pieces, such as The Banjo, are the true forerunners of jazz. Meanwhile, over in England, Coleridge Taylor's extraordinary cantata Song of Hiawatha gained him such popularity that he became known as the African Mahler when he toured the US, which is quite evident in the chromatic harmonies of this central aria from that piece, On a Way Beloved. So please welcome mezzo-soprano Rihanna Thelwell, followed by our tenor, Mr. Joshua Blue.
Which seem to come from heaven, to calm all pain and strife, as dew falls on the parched flower, to nurture it, to nourish it to life. They came to me a happy
soft and fawn-like. If thou only lookest at me, I am happy, I am happy. As the lilies of the prairie, when they feel the dew upon them. Sweet thy breath is as the fragrance of the wildflowers in the morning. As their fragrance is at evening in the moon when leaves are falling. Does not all the blood within me leap to meet thee, as the springs to meet the sunshine in the moon when nights are brightest? On away my heart sings to thee, sings with joy when thou art near me, as the singing, sighing branches in the pleasant moon of strawberries. When thou art not pleased, beloved, then my heart is sad and darkened. As the shining river darkens, when the clouds drop shadows on it, when thou smilest, my beloved, then my troubled heart is brightened. As in sunshine gleam the ripples that the cold wind makes in rivers. Smiles the earth and smile the waters, smile the cloudless skies above us, but I lose the way of smiling when thou art no longer near me. I myself, behold me, blood of my beating heart, behold me. Awake, awake, beloved, run away. Awake, beloved.
Scott Joplin was dubbed and remains the king of ragtime, and pieces like his Maple Leaf Rag and The Entertainer are some of the most recognizable pieces of Americana in popular culture. But what he really wanted to do was write opera. His great personal tragedy was the initial failure of his second opera, Treemonisha, whose poorly staged premiere at a rehearsal hall in Harlem, accompanied only by himself at the piano, was met with walkouts and utter indifference. It did not receive a full staging again until 1970. This duet from Treemonisha, when the characters Monisha and Ned lament Treemonisha's disappearance, show his ability to blend deeply felt melodies in his own folk idiom with hints of pre-blues. William Grant Still is still known as the Dean of African American Composers, and he is the first African American composer to have his music performed by a major American symphony orchestra. His beautiful songs paved the way for many extremely fine art song composers after him. Here are the final two from his exquisite Songs of Separation, which show clear influence from the European Impressionist school. To sing the duet, I Want to See My Child, first we hear mezzo-soprano Rihanna Thelwell as Monisha and baritone Joshua Conyers as Ned, followed by tenor Joshua Blue again in the Songs of Separation with Mr. Morris still at the keys.
To see my child tonight, I want to see her now. Those men have carried her away for spite. I would rescue her if I knew her.
Perhaps you'll see
I
her
want to see
tomorrow.
Could see my darling now, I would be happy again. The tears are falling from my brow. I must see her soon or go insane.
Perhaps you'll see
I
her
want to see
tomorrow. Not grieve and complain, you'll see her. Gently passing day, we would not know, but for the night when it has slipped away. Dream when dawn should leave no trace that it has lived, except a gleam across the dreamer's face. I am a black Piero. She did not love me, so I crept away into the night, but the night was black too. I am a black Piero. She did not love me, so I wept until the red dawn dripped blood over the eastern hills, and my heart was bleeding too. I am a black Piero. She did not love me, so with my once gay-colored soul, shrunken like a balloon without air, I went forth in the morning to seek a new brown love. I went forth in the morning to seek a new brown love. I went forth in the morning. I went forth in the morning. I went forth in the morning to seek a new brown love.
Now, the first female African-American composer to have their music performed by a major American symphony orchestra was Florence Price, who shares some of the same impressionistic traits as William Grant Still. We follow her beautiful song, Night, sung here by our baritone Joshua Conyers, with one of the great art song composers to follow in her footsteps, H. Leslie Adams, still alive today. And this is the last and the most perennially popular of his set of night songs, entitled Creole Girl, and Mr. Blue will return to sing that.
Comes a Madonna, clad in scented blue. Rose red her mouth, and deeper eyes. She lights her stars, and turns to where beneath her silver lamp the moon upon a think of Spain? Purple skirts and clipping castanets. Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl. When you laugh, do you think of France? Golden wine and mincing minuets. Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl. When you sing, do you think of young America? Grey guns and battling bayonets. When you cry, do you think of Africa? Blue nights and casual canzonets. When you dance, do you think of Spain? Purple skirts and clipping castanets. Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl, Creole girl.
And so now we return to Janine Tesori and Tazewell Thompson's opera Blue, and this time to the father's central aria, a really beautiful moment played here by our baritone Joshua Conyers. And this is the moment that the father, after his wife has just given birth, walks into the hospital with a bouquet of flowers, and he gets to meet and hold his beautiful baby boy for the very first time. So this is that central aria and Mr. Joshua Conyers.
Hello, my son, my baby boy. You are my son, you make me cry. Didn't want to have you. Now for you I'd die. I'd die. Oh, your mother's mouth. Oh, you've got my nose. You've got all your little fingers. I've counted all your toes. I love your seashell ears. I love your wisp of hair. Your big brown eyes that seem to stare. With little fingers you grasp my thumb. Everything that moves inside of me goes numb. My son, my little baby boy, my all the world, my pride and joy. Oh, what a gift, so rare, so sweet, so fine. You bring our life to lift. No rifts between us now. He's yours, he's ours, he's mine. Oh, what a gift, so rare, so sweet, so fine. Let's start a promise that we will never part. Entwine this child within our heart. He's yours, he's ours, he's mine. My child, my boy, my son, he's mine.
Well, if that wasn't enough, I have to give my performers a chance to really let loose. So we have a lovely set now. Spirituals are the result of the interaction of music and religion of both African and European origins, and they are unique to the experience of African Americans in the United States. And inherent within them is all the emotion and power of a people's long bondage. There are countless arrangements of well-known spirituals, ranging from the virtuosic and upbeat to the meditative and somber. Arrangers likewise range from the great Harry T. Burleigh and Moses Hogan to Antonin Dvorak and Charles Ives, crossing cultures and oceans. And here are 4 very different arrangements by Edward Boatner, Mark Hayes, Charles Ives, based on an original melody dictated to him by Mary Evelyn Stiles, and finally John Carter. Please give our 4 singers a warm welcome back, beginning with our mezzo, Amanda Bottoms.
I got a crown up in that kingdom, in that good news. I got a crown up in that kingdom, in that good news.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. You can talk about your man of Gideon, you can talk about your man of Saul. There's none like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. Up to the walls of Jericho he marched with the spear in hand. Go blow them ram horns, Joshua cried, as the battle is in my hand. The lamb sheep horns began to blow, the trumpet began to sound. Joshua commanded the children to shout, and the walls come tumbling down. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. Oh, Joshua, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls come tumbling down. And the walls come tumbling down, and the walls come tumbling down. is King of kings, he is Lord of lords. Jesus Christ, first and last, no man works like him. King Jesus rides a milk-white horse, no man works like him. The river of Jordan he did cross, no man works like him. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, no man can hinder me. Ride on, King Jesus, ride on, ride on, ride. No man, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man, no man can hinder me.
So tickets for our Young Artists recital next Sunday afternoon, March the 8th at 4 p.m. in the stunning music room at the Phillips Collection are available online through their website, and it is limited availability, so we encourage you to reserve your seat while you still can. We're going to close now with a bittersweet aria from the epilogue of Blue, and this is a flashback to happier times before the loss of their son. And this is when the mother recounts all of the types of food that she enjoys making for the family, and this is the last time that the family was together before he went away to the protest. A very moving moment, a very moving opera. And Blue plays in the Eisenhower Theatre for 5 performances between March 15th and the 28th, and I encourage all of you to explore all of these extra events and outreach that WNO has been doing around this exciting new piece. So please welcome back mezzo-soprano Amanda Bottoms one final time, and as you do so, please give a big hand to our pianist Thomas Morris, whose fingers are on fire today. Ms. Amanda Bottoms.
Deep fried, red-eyed, drip-dried, sun-dried, stir-fried, lake-side, seaside, true-tried, and untried. Come on! That's it. We're all together. Just as we should be. Partake your senses full, feast your eyes of festivity of food, made with love, made with love. Pinched and prodded, sliced and diced, peeled, pulled and pounded, scrimped and scrambled. Oh, with the rhythm of my heartbeat. Oh, made from the marrow of memory. Oh, made with love, made with love. For my boys, pagan song for my little baby boy. We have a collage of greens, chard-colored kale beets, turnip, mustard, dandelion, yams and rutabagas, succotash, okra, boiled peanuts, sweet watermelon, rind pickles, butter beans, black-eyed peas, stewed tomatoes. And for my big baby boy, chicken stew with dumplings, calf's liver and onions, barbecue ribs, the enthusiastic stink of chitlins, the colors caviar. Raise a cup of sweet tea and pot liquor, and a sweet potato pie, deep dish peach cobbler, banana pudding ringed with wafers, golden brown buttermilk biscuits, cast iron cornbread. The food of our ancestors, putting its arms around us, holding, hurling us together, survived, thrived on sad sides. From the banging of the pots at morning time to the prayer of thanks at night, I thank you, God. I thank you, God.
Us tonight at the Millennium stage. For more information about our programs, please visit us online at kennedy-center.org or on Facebook. Thank you.